These are notes for acids and bases, worksheet number 3. pH calculations. Logarithms are used to do pH calculations since the numbers can be very, very large or very, very small. A Danish chemist came up with this idea. Here's the formula. pH equals the negative log of H+. To find H+, so if you want to isolate H+, it's a little strange. You have to do H+ equals the inverse log. That means the second button on your calculator, and then the log button. So you're doing the anti-log is what it really is, times minus pH. You have to have that negative sign in there. You'll get a wrong number. So you could say H+ is the anti-log of negative pH. We cannot divide by a log, so we have to do the reverse of that. So pH and sig figs. Oh, dear Lord. Find the pH when H+ equals this. So first note the number of sig figs in this number. There are 3 sig figs, the 1, the 0, and the 0, not the leading zeros. The final answer should have 3 sig figs past the decimal. So pH equals negative log of H+. We're going to go negative log, plug in that number, and we're going to get 3, and then we put 3 sig figs, 1, 2, 3. Here is a square, a pH, POH, OH minus H+ square that we'll learn a little bit later, but I thought I'd put it in here. I know it's not the clearest square. We're going to do problem 2C from worksheet number 3. It says find the pH if the OH equals 1 times 10 to the minus 7th. I was just skipping past that, wasn't I? We need to erase this. I haven't been erasing my work very well. So find the pH if we have this OH. Here's the problem. We could easily find pH if we had H, but we don't. We have OH. So now we're going to work a little backwards, and this is not the only way to do this problem. So let me erase that one more time. So we could find H+. So we need to find H+. That's what we have to find by taking 1 times 10 to the minus 14th and dividing it by OH concentration. And that's going to be 1.0 times 10 to the minus 14th, all divided by 1.00 times 10 to the minus 7th. And what do you think that equals? That's going to give us 1 times 10 to the minus 7th. And that's the H+. So now that we have H+, we can plug it into our pH formula. pH equals negative log of that number, 1.0 times 10 to the minus 7th. And that, oh dear, my 7th. And that equals 7. And I guess technically we should add 3 sig figs because this number didn't really count there. 7. So that is a neutral pH. There we go. pH and the pH scale. So if you go from a pH of 1 to 2, the increase is actually tenfold because it's a logarithm. So what is the increase or decrease in pH if it changes from 10 to 8? It's a decrease of 100-fold, a 10 times 10 jump for each jump, or you could say it's 100 times stronger. You could say it's 100 times less basic or 100 times more acidic. POH is the converse of pH. The measurement of OH ions, the formula looks the same except for if you want to find POH, you have to have the OH in there. And if you want to find the OH, it's the antilog of the negative POH. And interestingly enough, if you add the pH and the POH together, you'll get a max of 14. So let's do number 3A from worksheet number 3. What is the pH when the POH equals 4.32? So we could do this an easy way. We could just take 14 minus 4.32, which gives us 9.68. That was a simple problem. Oh, Miss A, would you always give me ones like that? Probably not. Ta-da! So acid and base equation square. I put this earlier on, and then this is one I created. I don't know if it looks quite as nice as the other one, but the other one's a little blurry. And hopefully I'll hand one of these out to you. It's a way, if you're given one thing, how do you get to the other part of the chart? So all the equations you could use. H plus times OH is 1 times 10 to the minus 14th. The pH is negative log of H. H is the antilog of negative pH. POH is the negative log of OH. OH is the antilog of negative POH. pH plus POH is 14. And And there are multiple ways to solve most pH problems. Let's do problem number 6A from worksheet 3. Calculate the H and the OH minus if the pH is 5.12. Now this looks like it might be a little more challenging. So calculate the H and the OH minus. The easiest thing to do, or the first thing to do, is I would calculate the H plus. And that's going to be the anti-log of negative 5.12. And so the anti-log is just doing the inverse log on your calculator of negative 5.2. And so H plus is going to equal 7.6 times 10 to the minus 6th molar. That's answer number 1. Now we have to find a separate answer, the OH minus. I think the easiest way probably to do this would be to divide that previous number we got into 1 times 10 to the minus 14th. There are other ways to do it. This to me sounds like a one-stepper. And that is 1.3 times 10 to the minus 9 equals the concentration of OH minus. Ta-da! Those are the end of the notes for worksheet number 3. Whoopee!